Have you started franchising? In the process, tell us about that journey so far and where you're at with franchising. Tell us about the franchise concept. Is it a retail plus e-commerce? How does the franchise model work? What's kind of the return on investment that you expect your average unit to perform like? Why is the flower industry such a great industry to invest? Why should someone be looking at this industry versus others? What's there that you saw also that got you involved? All right, can you introduce yourself for me?
Yes, Glenn Anderson.
And Glenn, tell us a little bit more about your business.
So French Florist, we're a direct-to-consumer, e-commerce-driven flower shop. So we have traditional retail stores, but 95% of our orders come through online.
Amazing. How long have you been doing this for?
Myself, 2 years. Michael, who's our founder, bought an existing flower shop. His uncle started it in 1978. He bought it in about 6 years ago. It was doing $900,000 a year in revenue. And when I met him 2 years ago, it was doing $6 million.
Incredible. And what's your role now within the company?
Chief Growth Officer. So I had a background in franchising. Michael's story kind of blew me away. So I got involved with the business, kind of helped us launch the franchise division and kind of to get us to where we are right this minute.
Amazing. So now have you started franchising, or in the process? Tell us about that journey so far and where you're at with franchising.
So last year was brand new. We had to figure out CRMs and marketing and just get going. We sold 3 franchises last year. Year to date, I think I've sold 38 this year. So it's been busy. We've every quarter we've been getting progressively busier.
Amazing. That's incredible. And tell us about the franchise concept. Is it a retail plus e-commerce, or how does the franchise model work?
Yes, I mean it's a retail shop. It's interesting because we want our people to have a physical location, but because so much of our business comes through online, they actually spend a higher percentage of their money on marketing as opposed to on the rent. So yeah, I mean the orders come through online. Basically shops fulfill the orders, deliver them. Pretty simple business model. I mean, you need 3-4 employees to get started, and you don't have to be a florist. So we just help, we teach them the business and help them find the key employees, the florist.
Amazing. And tell us about the support that you offer in terms of sourcing the flowers. How does all that happen?
Yeah, so the roses that we're giving out today came from Ecuador, which is where you get the greatest roses in the world. So we buy direct from farms in many cases, and those flowers all the flowers in the US pretty much come through LA or they come through Miami. So we have partners that help get them from there to each individual store. But typically, we're working through wholesalers as well. So we're kind of buying in bulk, getting better pricing, and they're going to get what we call standing orders. So they'll get probably 2 orders a week of the main flowers that they need to run the business.
Incredible. And you provide all that for the franchisees. You handle all the purchasing and the bulk orders from the suppliers directly?
Yeah, we have all the relationships. They're going to actually, go into our system, make the order, and obviously pay for the order. But yeah, I mean everything's from the supply chain is taken care of. We have a great onboarding team, operations team. We have French Florist University, which is our learning management system. So again, I looked into this business when I first met Michael. Our LA store is huge, and I was I don't think you can franchise this. When I looked at our other 2 corporate stores, which were kind of our proof of concept, I was okay, I could learn how to do this, which means I think anybody could learn how to do it.
Incredible. And what's the total investment to get started as a franchise?
So, in our FDD, it ranges from approximately $160,000 to $360,000, which includes the $45,000 franchise fee, the build out, and then 3 months of rent, inventory, supplies, and payroll.
Incredible. And what's kind of the return on investment that you expect your average unit to perform like?
So it's interesting. The average florist in the U.S. only does about $300,000 a year in revenue. We have shops in their first year doing over $800,000, $900,000. Gross profit's around 72%. Net profit after royalty fees, brand fund, everything is closer to 15-16%.
Incredible. And what's the driver on how you're able to have above industry average economics in your locations?
Yeah, so it's really 2 things. The tech is there was no software available to florists that does what ours does, a complete solution. So it just allows you to run the business much more efficiently, right? So if you're more efficient, you've got capacity to do more orders. And thus, we got really good at digital advertising and have an exclusive partnership with a digital agency, which is really driving kind of the bottom of the funnel high intent buyers that they're looking for birthdays, anniversaries, they're buying for special occasions. And so yeah, that's really the 2 keys I think that are really the differentiator for sure.
Incredible. And if we look at a high level picture here of the industry, why is the flower industry such a great industry to invest in? Why should someone be looking at this industry versus others? What's there that you saw also that got you involved?
So I would say traditionally it was not a great industry to be involved in. And part of the problem was what we call order aggregators, like 1-800-Flowers or FTD. they would get the order online and then sell the order to the florist, but they would take like a 20-30% commission for that sale, which, the problem there is now the florist is either not going to make money or they're going to have to make a skimpier arrangement, which is bad for the florist and bad for the consumer. Since we're helping people do that directly, we've kind of cut that out. So I think we have a chance to actually really change the industry. I think the model was broken. I think 1-800-Flowers was valuable before the internet existed, because nobody knew how to find a florist in Florida if you were in Boston. But today it's very easy, right? So that's kind of so we're wanting to help the floral industry as a whole. We do have people converting their existing shops to our shops as well. So yeah, I think it's just taking a very cool traditional model and modernizing it.
Incredible. And then last question is, when you were looking at this opportunity, you were thinking, how can I grow this? Why did you select franchising as a way to grow versus opening more corporate locations?
No, it's a great question. The challenge, with corporate locations is you need a lot more capital because, you've got build outs and rent and staff, right? Now you're managing hundreds of people. And we have a very large staff in Southern California, operating our 3 shops today. Franchising is just an awesome business model. I was a franchisor, before this, so I got to help a lot of people, start their first business, become entrepreneurs, kind of quote unquote, live the American dream, right? So I love franchising because I feel like you find the right people, you give them an opportunity, and you kind of grow a family, right? And I think that's what's fun about franchising.
Incredible. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. It's been great to hear, and we look forward to your continued success.
Cool.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's great talking.
Do you want to franchise your business and take it to a whole new level? Click the link below to schedule a free consultation today.